This project is so easy to make. Grab some random fabric, some Easter eggs, and some twine or rope. Now I ended up going with rope eventually because I thought it would go faster wrapping the top, but we're going to be making some darling farmhouse acorns that you can use to decorate on a tabletop or decor. It is so easy to do. We're going to cut out some fabric. I went with about a 4x4 square, and then we're going to put some glue on the egg where the seal is to keep it together from popping open. This project is so easy because we're going to just put a dollop of glue at the end of the egg and then bring up the fabric around the sides, creating a pleated look. We're just basically getting that tension in there really tight as we're pulling the fabric upward towards the other side of the egg. And I just keep putting some hot glue and then pulling the fabric down so everything is laying as flat and smooth as possible. When you get to the very top, you're going to notice that there are all kinds of bulky pieces of fabric. We want to cut that off. We want to have as little fabric at the top as possible so that the rope or twine, whichever one you want to work with, because you can use them both, we want to make sure they're laying flat as much as possible. I'm going to take this rope from the Dollar Tree, add some hot glue, and then I'm going to start adding my rope, going around it, and just taking my time. The cleaner you are with the hot glue, the higher quality all projects always look. I don't ever like to rush hot glue projects because it is a little stringy, especially if the heat of the hot glue is not all the way warmed up. It can be even stringier. So I'm going to just keep adding my glue and going around and around and around until I coil all the way to the very top of that egg. Now at the top of the acorn, because that's what we're making, you're going to want to push that rope down in there with your hot glue as tightly and firmly as you can, and then you're going to cut off about 1 inch. It depends on how long you want the top to be, honestly, but you're going to coil that all down in there, push it in nice and tight, and then fray the top of that rope. For this DIY, I'm going to be taking 2 of these baskets that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. They have these pretty much year round. I'm going to take also some of these clips. I'm going to just show this whole thing as I'm going through. I'm slowing down the steps so that you can see everything. I'm going to cut down the middle of the basket, and then I'm going to come down to the bottom and cut around the bottom of the square of the basket. At this point, you can see I cut out the bottom part of the basket. Now I'm going to go and divide the 2 baskets. After I've cut the 2 pieces apart, I'm now going to add on some glue at the side of those cuttings where we split the basket in half, and then I'm going to clamp the 2 sides together, and then I'm going to use the clips to hold them all together so it doesn't come undone. Once that's dry, I'm going to come around to the bottom of the basket, add some glue, and clamp that down. Now I got this idea because I was at a home decor cute boutique store. I saw that they had these baskets there, and I thought, wait a second, that looks like something that I bought from the Dollar Tree. So I wanted to try to take a chance and see if I could make it work in my own craft room for a fraction of the cost. The smallest basket they wanted $15, and the bigger basket they wanted like $23, I think. No way, I thought. I could totally make that by just manipulating the basket and taking my time and going slow. This is real speed time. You're seeing exactly how long it's taking me to cut it apart. Now for the longer basket, you can see that I brought on a second piece, the other half of that basket. I'm going to glue around that rim for the top of where the basket used to be before we cut it apart so we can weld those pieces together. And the trick is you want to try to just squish it and tighten it almost like a belt around the sides so it looks like it's all one piece. I'm coming in with tons of glue, but not too much that it's going to leak out everywhere and make a big mess and you're going to see glue everywhere. I'm going to just keep squishing it all together and then holding it all in place. Now you can see you can't really put a clip there, so I was just kind of hanging out holding this until it dried, but that was okay. I had music playing in my craft room, and once it was dry and it all looked nice and complete and good, I then went ahead and moved onto the bottom of the basket and did the same thing like I did for the other little basket, where I added glue to the bottom and then I used my clips to clamp it all into place to make sure that everything is nice and glued and locked in. Now these baskets are just so pretty, and I think that you could put so many cute things in it. I think they would be beautiful hanging up on hooks in a kitchen on the wall. You can hang it up on a very small skinny wall and a small powder room bathroom. There's so many pretty things you can do with these baskets. Now I'm going to show in a second how I did these handles on the longer basket, but first I'm sharing that I wanted to just add a little tag to the front. The one that I saw inspiration at the store actually had a tag on it, and I thought it would be pretty to add one of these garden tags from the Dollar Tree. Now the bottom square from the basket, when you pull it apart, it gives you the perfect size to create little handles for the basket. So I'm just going to take one of these wood strips and I'm going to just tuck it in and around, creating that little loop. And I'm going to add some hot glue in there so that it can hold that handle in place. And then at this point you can put in whatever you would like. Now I'm not going to put any foam in because I want to be able to change out this basket all year long. I have a really pretty hook in my kitchen, and I thought this would be so pretty seasonally to switch out the florals in it. I saw this large sign and they were next to each other on the wall of all the new Dollar Tree signs, and I thought I'm going to put 3 of them together and make this just look so high end. I'm now going to remove the raffia bow and the leaves gently off of the sign because we are going to be painting these 2 white autumn signs. Once you've got everything off, you're going to go ahead and come in with whatever color orange you would like. I'm going to be going with a really beautiful creamy orange. I'm going to just paint over that, and you can see that it's opaque. The bottom artwork is still shining through. It's going to take about 3 to 4 coats depending on what type of paint you're using. Once it's all painted, I'm now going to come in and do a little bit of distressing with a dry brown paintbrush. And I'm just lightly bringing up that texture like you would see on a pumpkin. Once they are dry, I'm now going to line them up on my cutting mat where it's got all these grids. It's going to help me put them together really straight. I'm going to add on some glue on the edge, on the inner side of these 2 pumpkins sitting here. And then I'm going to put on this happy fall. It's amazing how the sign was cute as is, but when you bring 3 of them together, it really does bulk up the value and the look of these. And I'm only spending, you know, $1.25 for each of these signs, and I'm reusing the leaves, and I'm adding on just a couple of little things. So all in for this project, it's going to cost me about $4, maybe $4.50 at the most. I wouldn't even say $4.50, maybe $4.25 for all of this high-end look to come together. And that's the thing I love about Dollar Tree DIYs. When you bring a couple of pieces together, you really can just elevate the look of just one simple sign. And it's just fun to be creative and customize things and bring things together and just dream up crafty things. I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. It's just such a fun hobby to be able to make home decor that looks so high end for a fraction of the cost, because this particular sign, with how big this is, Hobby Lobby sells signs that are like this that are easily $30, $35. So now I've added some twine and some fabric around the stems of my pumpkins. I'm bringing back in the green leaf into the middle. That was from one of the other autumn white signs. Added a bow, added a button, and now on the back we're going to have a nice substantial rope back there to help hold up the weight because it is heavy with these 3 signs and how large it is. And we're going to add on some glue. I like to fray the ends of my rope, add the glue, and then glue some more, and then take a popsicle stick that I cut down to size and glue that right on top to complete that look.